New segments, same fresh energy. You are locked and loaded on In My Own Words, the podcast, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. Normally, we discuss current Alabama players on this podcast, but to kick off this edition of shows, we put the microscope on a former standout, quarterback AJ McCarron, who played at the University of Alabama from 2009 to 2013. Crimson Tide fans remembering him as a two-time national championship signal caller as a starter. And after 4 years in the National Football League with the Cincinnati Bengals from 2014 to this past season, McCarron and his legal team won its grievance case against the Bengals, making McCarron an unrestricted free agent coming up on March 14th, which represents the league's new year and the free agency period. What's crazy about all of this is, if you remember, McCarron was selected in the 5th round, picked 164 overall in the 2014 draft venue to Cincinnati. Despite passing a physical by the team doctors, trainers, what have you, McCarron suffered tendinitis in his throwing shoulder, was put on the non-football injury list by Cincinnati, and ended up staying there longer than what he was supposed to. His original rookie deal was 4 years, $2.4 million. So in the case of 4 years, it would be from 2014 to this past season. McCarron did not play his entire rookie season. Cincinnati was trying to portray or convey to the NFL arbitrary unit that with McCarron not playing out his full rookie season, he would still be restricted to that rookie contract. But seeing how McCarron spent a full year in the league despite not playing, and he was not paid his given salary, the NFL ruled in favor of AJ McCarron. It's almost like in college football where you redshirt your freshman season, despite the fact that you did not play on the field, you still spent a year in that program as a student. So when you come back, yes, you come back on the field as a redshirt freshman, but in classification, academics go, you come back as a full-blown sophomore because you spent 1 full year within that program. In the NFL, yes, AJ McCarron did not play his rookie season, but he still spent 1 full year in the league, and the Bengals did not do right by him, paying him that full salary for his first full year in the league. So, with that being said, NFL ruling in favor of McCarron. McCarron, an unrestricted free agent. He's excited, being able to now prove himself to be a starting quarterback. And there are going to be a lot of teams. The bidding war is on. Now, am I saying that AJ McCarron would have the same type of impact should the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees not come to a contract, or what's going on with Kirk Cousins right now? I'm not saying that at all. Now, I believe the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees will come to some understanding. I mean, he is basically a hero in the Big Easy. Right now, the deal with Drew Brees is somewhere in between that $18 to $30 million range. If they don't come up on a deal for the 39-year-old, then Drew Brees would hit the market as the most coveted free agent. And then you still have Kirk Cousins, who a lot of people feel like is going to get in between $30 and $50 million. Now, do I think he deserves between $30 and $50 million? No. But in a league where it's so quarterback driven, it's so quarterback hungry, it's so quarterback desperate, to a point that if you do not have at least a B+ to B average signal caller, somebody that can come in, have a decent enough arm, have good enough decision-making skills, and can work both the locker room and the huddle in terms of football, you are in a pickle if you're a program, if you're a franchise. That's how much quarterback hungry the NFL is at this given moment. So, with that being said, There's a bidding war going on for AJ McCarron, and there are quite a few franchises that will be looking for his services. I have 5 listed right here as the best landing spots for the 27-year-old out of Mobile, Alabama. I have 5 of the best landing spots for him in a wild card spot that me personally, I feel like, should he land this spot, it's a potential Super Bowl home run, big move higher for this franchise in question. But as for my 5 spots, number 1, and I know a lot of Alabama fans are going to be like, you've got to be bleeping me. But at number 1, I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns an ideal landing spot for AJ McCarron, and here's why. I get it, last year they went 0-16. They were pathetic. They were abysmal. They were the bottomless pit, so to speak. They were the abyss. Coach Hugh Jackson, in 2 seasons, 1-31 as a head coach. The one thing that Jackson does have to his credit, he was AJ McCarron's offensive coordinator in Cincinnati. So, McCarron is Hugh Jackson's guy. The Browns do have talent on the roster. At running back, you're looking at Isaiah Crowell and Duke Johnson. At wide receiver, you have Sammy Coates, who came out of Auburn University. You have Corey Coleman, who came out of Baylor. You've got Josh Gordon. If he can stay off the marijuana, the weed, the pot, Josh Gordon can be a prime time force. And then you also have Joe Thomas on the offensive line. The Cleveland Browns have pieces. A quarterback, therein lies Kevin Hogan and Deshaun Kaiser. AJ McCarron has far more talent, is far more marketable, has far more of a winning mentality than Kevin Hogan and Deshaun Kaiser. And with the talent that the Cleveland Browns have, and with the money that the Cleveland Browns have, first and foremost, Cleveland wanted AJ McCarron from the jump. During the season, they traded for him. It's just that Cleveland botched the trade. That they waited to the last minute to try to sign something off, and it did not happen. That was a complete meltdown. That was a complete Britney Spears, oops, I did it again. But in this case, they didn't have a chance to do it the first time, because this was the first time. But Cleveland has another opportunity to get this thing right. Hugh Jackson has a shot to finally get his guy and AJ McCarron. Can he do it is the question. Now the Browns do have the first pick and the 4th overall pick in the first round of the draft. They can also take that first round pick and get a quarterback to pair with McCarron should they get AJ, and you would have either a Sam Darnold or a Mason Rudolph or a Josh Rosen to put with the McCarron, sit them under AJ for a year or 2. You can pull that number, or you can pull the whole, we got AJ, let's get a running back in Saquon Barkley, let's get a defensive back in Minkah Fitzpatrick out of Alabama. However the Browns want to play this, but I'm just saying this right now, Cleveland has the money to throw at AJ McCarron. He is Hugh Jackson's guy, and this could be the person or the individual with the talent that Cleveland does have. Isaiah Crowell is no slouch. Duke Johnson's no slouch. Sammy Coates is a physical freak at 6'3". Corey Coleman comes out of Baylor, a part of wide receiver U. He's no slouch. Josh Gordon has shown he can ball, and Joe Thomas is one of the better offensive linemen in the National Football League. If the Browns cannot botch this up, this is doable for them. Moving on to second best spot for McCarron, I look at the Denver Broncos. And I remember, I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken. I remember there was an NFL coaches, owners, general managers meeting. I don't know where the location was, but I remember there was a meeting. And John Elway was there, GM for the Denver Broncos. And Marvin Lewis originally had a deal in place for AJ McCarron on the table. And one of the teams that seemed to be very interested was the Denver Broncos and John Elway. The moment Elway became interested, Marvin Lewis completely took the deal off the table. Right now, Denver Broncos still interested. 2017 went 5-11, coming under second-year head coach Vance Joseph. The Broncos also have the 5th overall pick in the first round of this year's draft. If you look at Denver and the talent that Denver has, running back C.J. Anderson comes back. It acquired Jamal Charles from the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he still has some years to go in his tank. You got Benny Fowler III at wide receiver, Emmanuel Sanders, and the threat of Demaryius Thomas. Quarterback situation, dreadful for Denver. Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Chad Kelly. All 4 of these guys represent the cast from Lost looking for an audition. You bring AJ McCarron into this situation, he immediately becomes the starting quarterback in my mind. You learn from John Elway, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, was one of the guys that came into that 1983 NFL draft, that great class of quarterbacks, but also had Dan Marino in there. I believe Jim Kelly was also in that class. Yes, he was. So you bring AJ McCarron to Denver, smooth opportunity right there. You have them competing in the AFC West. Now, the AFC West is tough because you have the Chiefs in there, Denver, the LA Chargers, and the Oakland Raiders. But you give AJ McCarron a shot. If you're John Elway, I like him in Denver. Could literally be the starting quarterback. Now, I know Denver is right now high on Kirk Cousins, but hear me out, John Elway. AJ McCarron, proven guy in college, sat behind Andy Dalton for 4 years. When Andy Dalton got hurt, you saw AJ go in there that 2015 season, total 854 passing yards in 7 games, 6 touchdowns to 2 picks, and if it was not for a boneheaded mistake by Vontaze Burfict and Adam Thug Pac-Man Jones, the Bengals win the 2016 AFC wildcard game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bengals lost 18-16. Could have won, but Adam Pac-Man Jones and Vontaze Burfict. Lord have mercy. That situation right there. But number 4 to me, or number 2, excuse me, to me, would be the Denver Broncos. At number 3, we have the New York Jets under head coach Todd Bowles. The Jets, 2017, finished the year at 5-11. They will have the 6th overall pick of the first round. The Jets at quarterback, we're looking at Christian Hackenberg coming out of Penn State. Has not panned out for him. The journeyman Josh McCown. You have Bryce Petty, who came out of Baylor, who at one point in his career was a Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Has not panned out just yet in the National Football League. Still a project in the making. And you have Joel Stave, who came out of Wisconsin, excuse me. So basically 4 quarterbacks on this roster that have not panned out. But talent-wise, when you look at the Jets, this is still a pretty talented roster. Matt Forte is getting older as a back. He's 32 years of age. The Jets will need to draft a running back, but if you can get something out of Matt Forte, that'll be good. You have Jeremy Langford behind him. He hails from Michigan State. You got Jermaine Kearse, who, by the way, spent some time with the Seattle Seahawks prior to coming to the Jets. You have Ardarius Stewart, former Alabama wide receiver. Sharon Peake, who came out of Clemson. Devin Smith, who came out of the Ohio State University, the Buckeyes. He suffered an anterior cruciate ligament injury to his knee last season, the reason why he didn't play. And then you also have DeMaurier Stringfellow, the physical 6'2", 6'3" freak out of Ole Miss. You have Jordan Leggett, tight end out of Clemson, and then also Austin Seferian-Jenkins, of whom the Jets got from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If I'm not mistaken, Seferian-Jenkins out of college came from University of Washington. So there is talent on this roster. But once again, with talent, you are in need of a quarterback. And despite having Christian Hackenberg, Josh McCown, Bryce Petty, Joel Stave. They have not fit the bill. If you get AJ McCarron in a New York Jets uniform, Todd Bowles possibly has the opportunity to maybe dethrone the New England Patriots. Maybe. I mean, in the AFC East, Jets, Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, you have a shot. If the Jets have a shot to be really competitive, really good, if you go out there and get AJ McCarron. That's the Jets. Next down the line, we have the Buffalo Bills, who will have the 21st overall pick. The Bills last season were actually pretty good, 9-7, a fringe playoff team, almost got there. Under head coach, well, they did get there, excuse me, they got put out in the first round. Under head coach Sean McDermott. At quarterback, the Bills picture, you've got Tyrod Taylor, Nathan Peterman, and Joe Webb. Tyrod Taylor, and I love this dude, came out of Virginia Tech. I was born in Norfolk, Virginia. I've watched almost every Virginia Tech quarterback to play, whether it's Michael Vick, Marcus Vick, Sean Glennon, Logan Thomas, Tyrod Taylor, Brian Randall, excuse me. Saw them all play. Saw them all play. Taylor has a creativity about him. He's a solid guy, but Buffalo still not quite sold on him just yet. Now, he's still signed. He's still on contract, but the Bills just not quite sold on him. I mean, you got Nathan Peterman and Joe Webb as backups here. The talent for the Buffalo Bills, LaShawn Shady McCoy at running back, Kelvin Benjamin at wide receiver. If you can keep the 6'5" specimen healthy, he's lethal. Malachi Dupree coming out of Louisiana State University at wide receiver. You got Jordan Matthews, who came out of Vanderbilt University, was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles before getting sent to the Buffalo Bills. You have Zay Jones, who was the pride of East Carolina University, and also Charles Clay at tight end. That guy's a stud. So, once again, all of these teams have pieces. You just need a quarterback to make it all go. Sean McDermott and the Bills got to the postseason last year at 9-7. I think they're one piece away from really making some serious damage. I understand you got the 21st overall pick of the first round, but if you can find a way to land AJ McCarron, make him a deal that he can't refuse, McCarron could put Buffalo over the top in that AFC East. And then last but not least, as far as landing spots go, I've got the Arizona Cardinals, who will have the 15th overall pick of the first round. 2017 finished the season at 8-8. But the different thing about the Cardinals, no more Bruce Arians. The offensive mind, the quarterback whisperer, gone, retired. Steve Wilks taking over, former Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator. Also, Carson Palmer, gone, retired. Quarterback rotation for the Cardinals, Matt Barkley came out of USC. Blaine Gabbert came out of Missouri. And Drew Stanton, well, there he is. The talent for Arizona. You got one of the better all-purpose backs in the National Football League in David Johnson. You got the bionic man, Adrian Peterson, right behind him. You got John Brown, the speedster, at wide receiver. You got the veteran, Larry Fitzgerald, came out of Pittsburgh, who, coming back for his 15th year in the league, he's got a chance to make some history. Could be second all-time in the NFL in receptions if he can snag 390 receiving yards. That would pass him ahead of Terrell Owens. Also, if he finds a way to catch 93 passes, that will pass him over Tony Gonzalez for second all-time in NFL history also. So you got Larry Fitzgerald. You got the pride of UAB, University of Alabama at Birmingham, J.J. Nelson at wide receiver, Jermaine Gresham at tight end, and also Ricky Seals-Jones, the pride of Texas A&M University at tight end. Talent there as well. Big-time names there as well. Need a quarterback, especially with the Cardinals and the NFC West. And this is a very tough division. When you look at the LA Rams, Sean McVay, Jared Goff. Jared Goff went from being a possible NFL bust to this past year, Sean McVay made him into a Pro Bowl invitee or a Pro Bowl candidate. And then in the years to come, Jared Goff could be an NFL MVP caliber quarterback. So you got Goff, we got Russell Wilson, in Seattle. San Francisco went and found its guy, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Kyle Shanahan bringing him in from the New England Patriots in a trade. The Cardinals need a quarterback. I go out there, I land AJ McCarron to compete with the Joneses or to run with the Joneses or to give you your guy that can make a big-time splash in that NFC West quarterback-driven division. So, going back over these spots again, you got the Cleveland Browns, the Denver Broncos, the Buffalo Bills, the New York Jets, and the Arizona Cardinals. All 5 are strong, solid landing spots that will be in a bidding war for AJ McCarron. If I had to give a wild card spot, the wild card spot will go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is why. Jacksonville has all the pieces there. You have an offensive line led by former Alabama left tackle Cam Robinson. You've got the run game and Leonard Fournette and TJ Yeldon. You've got receivers in D.D. Westbrook and Allen Hurns, Marquise Lee. Also at tight end, there's Mercedes Lewis. On defense, I mean, my goodness, you got Marcel Darius, Calais Campbell, Miles Jack. In the secondary, there's Jalen Ramsey. The pieces are all there for Jacksonville. They're all there. All they need to do is get a quarterback to put it all together. And Blake Bortles, despite the fact that everybody says he had such an improved year this year, and he did, in the big games in the postseason, Jacksonville did not trust him. You look in that second half against New England. You've got New England on the ropes, and what does Jacksonville do? They go completely conservative. Why? They do not trust the arm strength, the confidence, the leadership capability, the quarterback that is Blake Bortles. They don't trust him. And come playoff time, you got to have your quarterback in there that you can trust. New England trusts Tom Brady. Green Bay trusts Aaron Rodgers. New Orleans trusts Drew Brees. You got to have your quarterback in there that you can trust beyond a shadow of a doubt. Even though he's on the second-tier wave, Atlanta trusts Matt Ryan, period. Jacksonville did not trust Blake Bortles. Got to get you somebody in there that you can trust. So, my wild card spot, I would pick the Jacksonville Jaguars. But that takes us to our first break here on In My Own Words, the podcast, Touchdown Alabama Magazine's own Stephen M. Smith. Just getting started, folks. Just getting started. When we return from the break, we dive into my 5 leaders. My 5 leaders for Alabama football going into spring practice. You don't want to miss it. Keep it locked right here, folks. We'll be right back. It's your boy, Stephen M. Smith, host of In My Own Words, the podcast. If you are a fan of this show, then I encourage you to subscribe to the Touchdown Alabama Magazine YouTube channel. Also follow the brand on Facebook, Twitter, and other forms of social media as we continue to bring you the best in Alabama football and Crimson Tide athletics.